What's going on, everybody? It's Peter Tracy, Studio 11508, and today I'm going to be showing you how to use a world space canvas to create a really cool miniature radar system for your Unity project using Waypoint Indicators. And with that, let's get started. So this tutorial assumes that you already know how to link up the Waypoint Indicators script with your objects. So if you don't know how to do that, there's a link to a video that shows you how to do all that and more in the description below. So before we get started, let's just break down the scene really quick. What you have here is just a main camera and a red box that represents an enemy or a point of interest that we're going to be tracking with the Waypoint Indicator scripts. Ground, which is the green plane that you see here, and then a standard canvas and obviously the event system that goes with the canvas. And the standard canvas as it is now just reflects how the Waypoint Indicator system works on this enemy on a screen space. So we're going to be changing this screen space interaction to a world space where we can kind of shrink this whole canvas experience down and maybe move it to the bottom left so we can have a smaller version of this experience running where we can move it anywhere we want on the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is go over to our hierarchy and we're going to create a new canvas for our world space canvas. So under UI, we're going to click Canvas, and I'm going to rename this to World Canvas. And the next thing I want to do is go under the tag, because we're going to need our Waypoint Indicator system to recognize it. We're just going to call this Canvas World, which I've already created. And just to get this done and out of the way, we're going to change this canvas screen tag name to match what we just created for our tag. So canvas tag name is Canvas World, which will match Canvas World here. So with Canvas World highlighted, we're going to go in and look at some of the options that we have here. The first thing that we want to do is change the render mode from screen space overlay to screen space camera. Now we're doing this before we jump into the world space because the screen space camera is going to give us a shortcut to getting that canvas right in front of the camera so we can manipulate it a lot easier. So we're going to, first thing we're going to want to do is take this camera, render camera field, and we're going to drag our main camera into that. Now what's great about this is now we get a plane distance field. So right now it says 100. So let's bring it down to like say 5. And before we go any further, I'm going to just add, I'm going to go and click into this world canvas. I'm going to add an image into this, and we're just going to make this black just so we can see it. If you notice that it's just a small square right now, it's not taking up the entire canvas. So with the image highlighted under the rect transform, I'm going to adjust those anchors by holding Shift and Alt. And I'm going to come down here to the bottom right. I'm going to click that so that it completely fills up the entire canvas. So you can see that it is fully filling up the canvas. There you go, as you see here. Now with that image in place, we can get an idea of where our canvas is at in world space. Let's go back to that canvas and let's go back to our plane distance on the far right over here. And as we move and adjust the plane distance, you'll notice that it gets closer to the camera, and then once we get down to like 0.3, we start to lose it. So what I like to do is just give it a little bit of wiggle room. I like to give it a 0.4. So it's just in front of the camera as you see here. So the next thing we're going to want to do is adjust the size and parameters of this canvas so we can move it around. But as you see, we cannot do that in screen space camera because the rect transform options are all grayed out. So in order to make these editable, we're going to come down to world space, and now we have access to all of these wonderful options. So one of the things I'm going to want to do is adjust the scale. One thing you could do is pull the canvas away, but that's not going to actually do you any good, because when you go to move your camera, your canvas is going to move away from your camera as well, and we want to keep that locked. We want to give the impression that this canvas is locked to your camera. And the further away it is from your camera, the more you're going to notice that discrepancy. So I'm going to go back and do a couple of undos so it's back in front of the camera. And instead of pulling it away on the z-index like we did, we can just simply adjust the scale. So I'm going to bring the scale down from 0.0004 to 0.0002. And let's see what results we get. So it's a little bit smaller. Maybe we want to go 0.00015, just so it's a little bit smaller. That looks great. And now we can go in to here on the left side into our scene view and sort of move the canvas along the XY coordinates. And so now we have this nice little canvas in the bottom left. So if we hit play, you'll notice that we see the waypoint indicators working on the canvas. So we're just going to move this enemy around and you're going to see that that works out just fine. We can hit stop. You don't need to have this at a solid black. We can bring down the opacity or get rid of it completely, but I'm just going to keep the opacity just slightly down so you can see it a little bit better. And we're going to hit play again and we're going to select the enemy, and you can see as we move the box around the camera how that still works. So now that we have our enemy tracking perfectly with the indicator, canvas indicator, let's see what happens when we move our camera independently. And as we rotate it, you'll notice that the canvas is rotating as well. If we go to move the camera, we'll also be losing the canvas. So the best way to fix that is to take your world canvas and parent it with your main camera. Then once you've clicked on your main camera and you move it around, you'll notice that we've resolved that issue. We can move and we can rotate, and the canvas stays where it is and the indicators are still doing their thing. The other cool thing we can do with this is now that we have the world canvas, we can grab that and we can move it anywhere we want on the screen. We're not just stuck with just one spot. So we want the canvas in the upper right, well then we can put it in the upper right. And if we want to shrink it down to just say 1.001, we can make it smaller and we can move it a little further over. And by moving our camera around, you'll be able to see that it does the job just fine wherever it's at. Well, that wraps up our tutorial for today. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.